Hey there, it's Dan and you're watching The Salty Sea. With all the new Warcry content coming out lately, it can be hard to keep up. So I'm going to try to help you out by giving a guide here to the value that you can find in the new Warcry starter boxes. I'm really excited they came out with a new edition of these since the last ones were some of the best products they released for the game. So let's start with Skaven. Now the price value here is a B. The contents of the box is a $38 box of clan rats and a $48 sort of rat ogres and giant rats box. But this sells for 60. This is all in US dollars, by the way. So you're going to save about $18 here, which is really nice. It's not mind-blowing, but that's good value. Now, as far as warband power, and this is just going to be grading what comes out of this box alone, it's still an A. The Rat Ogre has damage efficiency of 9.2 and a tank score of 6.9. And at move 5, it's maybe the best monster in the game at its or even near its points cost. And then giant rats, they're at 12.1 on my damage efficiency grade, and then tank only 3.7, but they have move 8, and so for what they do as far as clogging up the board while at the same time coming in and attacking, they might be the best unit in the game flat out. This box gives you 6 of them. I would suggest playing all 6 every time. Now, Pack Masters and Clan Rats kind of stink, but who cares? You have 8 incredible units coming in with this box. Now, as far as transitioning to AOS goes, Rat Ogres don't really get played much in Skaven lists, and they just kind of struggle to find a role in that army. So if you're looking to play Age of Sigmar as well as Warcry, I think you'd just be better off buying a box of Clan Rats. But that's kind of nice for Warcry lovers, because I expect this box to be around for quite a while for exactly that reason. Now let's look at what kind of list you can make with this. I would start with the Clan Rat Claw Leader, and then go into 6 Giant Rats. After that, I don't like Pack Masters, but for 195 points, getting 3 of them just works really well. As far as list building goes, just, the numbers fit well together. Then finally, for 450 points, you get the fun part of this warband, the part that's going to really blow you away on the table, and that's going to be the 2 Rat Ogres. They're incredible models. Actually, I take that back. As models, they're old and kind of showing their age as a sculpt. I just mean on the tabletop, their rules are incredible. So then what's next if you buy this and love it? What do you do next? Well, you don't really need anything, as this warband is ridiculous on its own. However, you can get some Plague Monks to replace your terrible Pack Masters. Plague Monks are just an insane unit. So if you want to be uber competitive, it might actually be cheaper to buy a box of Plague Monks and a box of Rat Ogres. But this comes with the cards, and it's a great buy, especially since you really don't need the Plague Monks to have a really awesome warband. So now on to the Karadron Overlords. So the price value here is really good. A box of Engine Riggers is going to run you 44 US dollars, and so will a box of Thunderers. But this box only sells for 65, so you're saving $23 here, which is great. Now, the warband power here is B or maybe B-. Karadron Overlords are a great warband. They've got shooting that's really hard for some opponents to deal with, but you won't be accessing the full power of them until you get a box of Arcanaut Company. As is, the warband that comes out of this box is going to suffer a little bit from low numbers, but you're still going to be able to blast your opponents with sweet weapons. And by the way, the balloon leaders, which you can make one of with this box, are excellent. They're both super flexible, with both melee and ranged options, and a ton of speed. They don't do as much damage as some of the other mid-200 point elite units, but the flexibility that they have makes up for that and really rewards a heady player. Now, as far as transitioning to AOS goes, Engine Riggers and Thunderers are both used in some KO armies. I think Engine Riggers more so. The issue is this box not having any Arcanaut Company and not having any boats in it really makes it not as good a place to start Karadron Overlords as, say, just getting some boxes of Arco or even just getting the Start Collecting box there. So that's good. You're still going to want this eventually because of the savings on getting those engine riggers and thunderers. So if you like the units in AOS, you can do it. It's just not as good as some other AOS options for collecting KO. Now, as far as what I would play just coming out of this box, look, if I could, I would choose to have 3 deck sweepers and 1 fumigator on my thunderers, but the box doesn't come with those options. So instead, I'd build 2 Sky Wardens, 1 the leader and then 1 with the volley gun. And then I would just do 1 of each weapon on the Thunderers, and I'd ignore the really expensive weapon, the one that costs 170. If you like KO, keep the Fumigator and Deck Sweeper and the 2 Sky Wardens, and then just get a box of Arcanaut Company, replace the regular gun and the mortar with 4 Arcos, and you're going to have a great warband with 8 bodies, 2 of which are fast flyers. So as far as what's next, that's really what I would go for, is getting an Arcanaut Company box. Now let's talk about Ironjawz. The price value here is just kind of okay. Brutes run at 54 US dollars, and this box sells for 60. But Ardboy is at 57. That box comes with 15 Ardboys. So let's maybe cut it in thirds. So once you do that, you're at $19, which adds up to 73. So you're only saving $13 total. It's not incredible, but it is good value. All of these are at least going to be okay. I'm just giving it a C+ because it's worse than the other boxes for this. Now, as far as warband power, C might seem a little harsh here. Ironjawz is a totally awesome and functional warband. I wouldn't hesitate to give a D here if that weren't true. Every Ironjawz is a great fighter for its point cost. The problem is just they're so slow. You really need to get value out of your Wah ability in round 1 for the warband to function at all. Also, Ironjawz is awaiting some pretty major buffs that were recently leaked in the upcoming Grand Alliance books. The War Chanter and the Gore Gruntas were totally going to change up this warband. In the meantime, you can absolutely have a functional warband in this box. Now, as far as transitioning to AOS goes, this box is amazing. Brutes and Ardboys are both good in AOS, and buying 2 of this box and 2 Start Collecting boxes gets you all the troops you need for an Ironjawz army at a reasonable price. I know I said the savings were meh, but when the box contains exactly what you're going to use in your 2k point army, well, that's real value. Now a note on the list. I actually think the Ardboy leader is better point for point than the Brute leaders. But this warband is somewhat inflexible on points, and the math just doesn't really work out right when you use the Ardboy leader. You end up with a bunch of points left over that you may as well use on the Brute boss, because even though point for point it's not as good, it's still overall better at 250 points than the other one is at 190. So I would just not build the Ardboy boss out of this box, and or build him and just proxy him as one of the smaller Ardboys, maybe Big Chopper, Choppa, and Smasha. So I would go with 2 Brutes. One is the boss with Claw, and the other is the Gore Choppa. And then I'd have 3 Ardboys with the Big Choppa, and 2 with the Choppa and Smasha. Those 2 rollouts do pretty similar damage, same damage on Toughness 4, but the Big Choppa deals a little bit more on Toughness 3 Chaff, and a little less against Toughness 5 Stormcast, etc. I think having a mix is correct, but you're going to want more Big Choppas than dual wielders. So whether you go 4 and 2 or 3 and 2, or sorry, 4 and 1 or 3 and 2 is really going to be up to you. As far as what's next, once the GA books come out, the definitive Ironjawz box for Warcry really is going to be the GA book because of the Gore Gruntas and the War Chanter that comes in the box. I've done a video on the new leader abilities, and I'll post a link to it below. But War Chanters give this force a real facelift. Now finally, let's talk about Flesh Eater Quartz. Price value, I would say a D. Yes, I put C here on the chart, but thinking it over again, it's just not good at all. You see, the issue is the Start Collecting box gets you all the same units minus a Terrorgeist. But you can sell a Terrorgeist on eBay for $45 at least, which makes up the price difference between that and this, even once you buy the cards. Now it's not a fail, because if you don't want the hassle, then this is a better option. It's just that you are leaving value on the table. Now, Warband Power is excellent, an easy A. Flesh Eater Courts have two amazing hammer options in the Crypt Infernal and the Crypt Haunter, and they also have a great chaff unit in the Ghouls. The Warband you get out of this box is legitimately one of the best in the game. Yes, the Skaven box can lead to maybe a Warband with potentially a higher ceiling once you replace the non-Rat Ogres options. But this one out of the box is incredible. It's a A-tier Warband, and you're going to love it once you play it. Now, as far as transitioning to AOS, I'm going to give it a C. All these units are playable in that game. It's just that the Start Collecting box is better. So there's really no reason to get this if playing AOS is your plan. Now, as far as what's next, nothing, really. This box gets you everything you need to play Flesh Eater Courts and Warcry, which is amazing. That makes this box an incredible buy if you don't want the hassle of selling a Terrorgeist. Personally, I'd still go with the Start Collecting, but again, so much easier. So if you bought this on pre-order, you're going to have no regrets. So that's it for the boxes. Which one are you going to get? I know even though I said that the Ironjawz one was maybe the least powerful, that actually would be up at the top of my list for which one I want to get, just because I think Ironjawz are so awesome. I'm thinking hard about Flesh Eater Courts as well, though I will get the Start Collecting for that if I go that direction instead of the box. I hope you're loving the Warcry releases as much as I am, and there will be more content here coming soon. Maybe I'll go back to some tactical stuff, which is my bread and butter before the releases all started coming out. Until next time, may all your rolls be crits.